Some coaches are gifted big jobs at their former clubs and walk straight into football management, but for some it's much harder. They have to rely on their mentality and ability to take them to the top of the footballing pyramid, and they have to continuously prove themselves along the way. Graham Potter did exactly that. Join us today as we guide you through his relentless climb to the Premier League. Stick around to find out how he earned his jobs in the top flight after starting from the absolute bottom of European football. A quiet playing career. A lot of top managers have had illustrious playing careers. The likes of Guardiola, Cruyff and Zidane were all outstanding for both club and country. However, the same cannot be said for Potter. He had quite an average, if not underwhelming career. Potter came up through the Birmingham City Academy and bounced around the likes of Wycombe, Stoke and Southampton. He won a single cap with the England under-21s while playing at Southampton, but that was the extent of his international career. From here, he had a quiet stint at West Brom, where he was loaned out to Northampton Town and Reading. Potter then spent a couple of years in the lower leagues at York City and Boston United. In his final move, he joined Macclesfield Town on a free transfer, where he ended his career. As you can see, he didn't do much at the top end of English football. Potter only made 8 Premier League appearances throughout his entire run. He was never handed a move to a big club, and as you're about to find out, he wasn't handed a coaching job at a big club either. The job search. After graduating from the Open University in December 2005 with a degree in social science, Potter looked for his first coaching gig. He worked as technical director for the Ghana women's team at the 2007 FIFA Women's World Cup. Potter then became an assistant coach at Leeds Metropolitan University. His first main management job was for the non-league side Leeds Carnegie, which he joined in 2008. But in December 2010, Potter was approached with his first professional job offer. Soaring in Sweden. The English manager signed a 3-year deal at Östersund, who were then playing in the 4th tier of Swedish football. It wasn't an ideal job. Speaking to Chelsea.com in September 2022, Potter said, "Quite often, there's no perfect situation that emerges. My situation and my opportunity was the 4th tier in Swedish football, and a place that nobody really wanted to go to. But even if it wasn't the gig he had in mind, Potter soon started to make Scandinavian dreams come true. He immediately won the 4th tier league in 2011. Potter wasn't done there and won the 3rd tier league in 2012, with Östersund losing just 3 games in the process. After 2 back-to-back league titles, Potter extended this contract for another 3 years. He was working with a very limited budget and needed to think outside of the box to make further progress. At this point, Potter began to move his coaching methods off of the pitch. With his degree in social sciences in hand, he realised there were opportunities to build morale away from the training ground. He would encourage his players and staff to take part in wider community activities. Some of his Östersund players even performed in music and theatre productions. The idea was to take his team out of their comfort zone and put them in new, stressful positions. And as we're sure you can guess, these ideas paid off. It only took him 2 more seasons to make more club history. He got promoted to the top tier of Swedish football in 2015, putting Östersund in the Allsvenskan for the first time in their club history. They finished their debut season in 8th place, and Potter was universally praised across Sweden for his achievements under such a restricted budget. 2 years later, in 2017, Potter won the domestic cup, the Svenska Cupen. This placed Östersund in the 2nd qualifying round of the 2017-18 UEFA Europa League. Potter now had a chance to show his football philosophies to the world, and that's exactly what he did. His side slapped Galatasaray 3-1 on aggregate, and then knocked out PAOK through away goals in order to secure a historic entry into the group stage. They slotted into Group J alongside Hertha Berlin and Athletic Bilbao. Östersund were the only Swedish team in UEFA competition this season, and became the first Swedish team to ever make it past UEFA group stages, as they finished 2nd. Potter's team lost only 1 game in this stage and went through level on points with Bilbao. A visit back home was then up next for Potter, as his team were set to take on a Premier League side. Arsenal stood between them and the quarter-finals. Östersund did the impossible and beat the Gunners 2-1 at the Emirates. But it wasn't enough, as they lost 3-0 when the English side travelled to Sweden. They were eliminated 4-2 on aggregate, a historic yet bittersweet campaign for Graham Potter. Speaking to 442 later on, Potter downplayed the importance of this result. You don't want to be that gallant, sad loser. People talk about Arsenal, but there were 7 years of progression to get to that point. But no matter what he says, that win at the Emirates was a breakthrough moment for Graham Potter's career. The Englishman got a call to come home to the UK, and in June 2018, he got a one-way ticket back to Wales. Championship homecoming. It wasn't quite Solihull where Potter grew up, but he signed a contract with the newly relegated Swansea City. Potter had 3 years on his contract to take the Swans back up to the Premier League. Upon joining, he said, "This is a Premier League club from the last 7 years, and it wants to try to get back, but get back in a way that there is an identity." Graham Potter knew a thing or two about identity and got straight to work on getting them back to the top division. He won his first match as Swansea gaffer with a 2-1 win over Sheffield United. Potter pushed on, especially in the FA Cup, where the new manager was no stranger to knockout tournaments. They hosted Manchester City in the quarter-finals and led the reigning Premier League champions 2-0 in the first half hour. It wasn't meant to be though, as it all collapsed when City scored 3 in the final 20 minutes. Swansea finished 10th in the Championship that season, and while it wasn't the promotion prize that they wanted, they were willing to give Potter another chance next season. However, opportunity came knocking once again. From Swansea to Seagull. Brighton were managerless at the end of the 2018-19 season. Their first choice for the hot seat, Graham Potter. The Seagulls tried to negotiate with Swansea over the poaching of Potter, but the Swans rejected everything at first. They were determined to keep their man. Swansea offered Potter a new contract, a lucrative deal that would have seen Potter be one of the highest earning managers in Championship history. But after talks stalled, they eventually had no choice but to allow Brighton to talk to Potter. The South Coast side paid Swansea over £3 million in compensation, and Potter signed a 4-year contract. He was appointed head coach on the 20th of May 2019. With his signature on the contract, Graham Potter had completed his journey to the Premier League. Flying high with Brighton. Potter won his Premier League debut with a 3-0 win against Watford, a sign of things to come for his stint at Brighton. While his first season was halted by the pandemic league suspension, his side caught eyes during Project Restart. They did the double over Arsenal with a famous 2-1 home win in June. Several other big results saw Brighton record their highest points and goals in the Premier League. Bear in mind that this was Potter's first season at the club. They finished in 15th with 41 points and 39 goals scored. Brighton then equalled their own record in the 2020-21 season, scoring another 41 points, but instead finishing 16th. They set a new goal record for the club by hitting home 40 goals. Moving into the 2021-22 season, Potter passed the threshold of 100 games as Brighton manager in November. He would go on to take the Seagulls on a 7-game unbeaten streak and hit 100 Premier League matches in February. Potter continued to decimate records. He guided Brighton to their best ever points tally of 51. He also gave them their biggest top-flight victory with a crushing 4-0 win over Manchester United, in which his Seagulls ran rampant on the former European champions. Brighton achieved their highest top-flight finish and ended the campaign in 9th place. With the man continuously setting and smashing his own records, it wasn't long until one of the big boys came sniffing. In September 2022, Brighton announced that Potter would depart for Chelsea in a deal reportedly worth £21.5 million. He was appointed manager at Chelsea in a 5-year deal, and his overall impact at the Blues has yet to be determined. Will he continue to break records? We wouldn't put it past him.